This building was built in 1966, and we removed the time capsule from it, and they de-leaded the copper, and the insides will surprise everybody. They probably didn't come out in the kind of condition that was expected, but your curiosity will be relieved. And so it was 50 years ago that the building was completed through it was the gift of the Duncan Brown family, who used to live up off of Pleasant Street. And the center school used to be in the spot where the building is. The center school was torn down in 1964, and 2 years later, in 1966, the town of Lunenburg gave the land to the Historical Society, and they built this building. And so we're celebrating the 50th anniversary today. And we have here a nice collection of antique cars and hot rods, and it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, with a big clown pops out. Yeah! Yeah.
Good job. Yay! Way to go, Mom. Ooh, day's work.
I don't know how you're gonna open it, but there you go.
Wow.
It is heavy.
Awesome.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Well, we have a big day lined up for the citizens of Lunenburg. We're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the dedication of this building. And our curator is standing here with us, Jennifer Sanderson. And we're going to have a little review of how this was conducted many years ago. And following that, enjoy some food and music and antique cars.
We are so fortunate to have this organization in this town, and I have to say, Bill, you are a treasure.
Oh, no.
An absolute treasure. No, and I'm blessed to have all of you in my life. As you know, my roots go back to 1718 here, multiple families, and I'm so proud. I really am.
Wonderful. Well, we're happy to have you. I mean, you've got some background that suits our needs, and thank you for coming on board.
Well, it's, like I said, my pleasure.
As always we ramble that river and night, along your green valley I'll work till I die. My land I'll defend with my life if need be. Pastures of plenty must always be free. Green pastures of plenty from dry desert.
We have members of Troop 1728 of the Boy Scouts of America with us today. Would you please present the colors?
Well, Will you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Would you please post the colors? You are dismissed. Well, it's nice to see such a crowd here today, despite this morning's inclement weather. Very, very happy. Can you picture living 69 years in a borrowed home? That's exactly what the Lunenburg Historical Society experienced from its founding in 1897 until this home was built and dedicated August 1st, 1966, 50 years ago tomorrow. You'll hear more about that later, but for now, allow me to welcome you to this special 50th anniversary of the dedication of this building. Originally, I was going to tell you of my childhood here in Lunenburg, living in a farmhouse off of Pleasant Street for 3 years, and of my attending the first and second grades of school right here on this site. Oh, that's a story for another time. Oh, and that house had recently been vacated by the John Duncan Brown family, and my parents, I believe, were the first tenants to live there. But here again, that's for another time. Oh, by the way, once each month, my father would drive the Ford Model T down to a cottage on Lunenburg Street near the Baker Brook Bridge, and pay the $10 rent for the house to Miss Brown. I understood her brother was called or named Dunky. That was his nickname. I'm sorry, I just get carried away thinking of years past. But when I became a volunteer here at the Historical Society, some 80 years later, here before me once again was the Brown family, represented by a collection of heirlooms and housed in this museum made possible by the generosity of John Duncan, or Dunky, Brown. Today we recreate portions of the original dedication ceremony. The original participants are no longer with us, but we do have descendants or relatives of some taking part. Namely, we've had Mark Proctor, we've got Amy Whitcomb, Ricciuti, and Lance May. A portion of that day's program was the placing of the cornerstone. Within that cornerstone was placed a time capsule. It was a copper box containing numerous newspapers, photographs, a copy of the program of the day, and a selection of coins. In preparation for today's event, with the intention of displaying those articles, we opened the sealed box Thursday, July 21st. We were a bit surprised and shocked at what greeted us. A soaking wet mass of goop and rolled up papers, impossible to separate. One day, we'll access the coins which are entombed in the center of the mass, assured that at least they will be intact. Another surprise, however, was a discovery of what we assume is the shell of the chrysalis stage of a moth or butterfly in a time capsule. You can see it inside. Somehow, the egg of that creature was among articles placed there. I could just picture it hatching into that worm, and the worm eating some of the papers that was in there, and then going into the next stage of metamorphosis, and, well, anyway. John Duncan Brown died in 1958 and left a legacy that enabled the Society to finance the design and construction of this building. Officers of the Society began seeking sites suitable to house the many artifacts left to the Society by Mr. Brown. Since 1910, the collections had been housed at the Ritter Memorial Library. In August 1960, a special town meeting was scheduled to include a warrant article pertinent to the Jones property at 42 Main Street, in which the society had indicated interest. By August 1962, the possibility of building on this school property was being considered and receiving the attention of the Superintendent of Schools and the Board of Selectmen. And on January 3rd, 1966, the town conveyed land to the society expressly for the purposes of keeping, housing, and displaying works or objects of historical significance. Ernest R. Pierce of Fitchburg submitted a proposal to construct the building, designed by John Radford Abbott of Cambridge. He would build on a cost plus 5% basis, but not to exceed $42,000. Carpenter labor was at the rate of $4.50 per hour, mason labor at $5 per hour, and mason tender at $3.85 per hour. Reading documents of that time prove very interesting and humorous. For example, this contract. You won't believe this. This contract between the Lunenburg Historical Society, party of the first part, and party of the second part, is intended to cover the responsibilities and obligations of the parties involved. Wow. This contract should be for a period of 6 months, beginning January 1, 1969, and continuing thereafter until terminated in writing by either party to the other party by notice 30 days prior to the said termination. The party of the first part agrees to provide the party of the second part with a key or keys to the building located on School Street and such tools and equipment as said party of the first part deems necessary for the provision of janitorial service. You know, today, the staff, volunteer staff, I can come by anytime during the week and somebody's mowing the lawn. It's not unusual for our curator to run around with a vacuum cleaner. I've taken bags of trash out myself. What's with this contract business, anyway? It was $300 a year. Another one, in November 1969, a document concerning the planting of a tree is directed to Mrs. Drum. Now, I've only got the first page of it. That's probably a good thing. And it contains no information on the author. However, here's a portion of it. Dear Mrs. Drum, acting on your request relative to investigating the possibility of a suitable site for the planting of a maple tree on the property of the Lunenburg Historical Society, I have carried out your instructions and make the following report. The most suitable for this kind of tree would be on the southern side of the lot. There's plenty of room for it there. However, the ground slopes off very steeply toward the rear or west side. This could and should be rectified if the grading and landscaping were completed to the full extent of our lot. As it is now, the lot has just about as much appeal to the eye as a dwelling house standing on an ungraded lot where the occupants have no sense of aesthetic values. As for my own personal opinion of this matter, I am thinking about how the Historical Society per se will be regarded in the future. From what I have been able to learn about it, it started out as a sort of social gathering where a few of the old-timers could have a chance to get together 4 times a year, reminisce, have a jolly good time with their tea and crumpets, and then, by light of their lanterns, wend their way homeward at the outlandish hour of 9 o'clock. But time marched on, and the society was given a new home, modern and beautiful and up to date. But many of the members do not seem to realize that when the society incorporated, their obligations became fixed and demanding. They now have a duty to provide and protect that home, and if we, the members, do not take a lively and earnest interest in it, it could well go down in history as the dream that failed. I don't have the second page to that. I would love to. So once again, I welcome you to this celebration of a moment in history of the Lunenburg Historical Society. Now we're going to hear a little bit about John Duncan Brown from our Vice President, Chuck Venezia. Chuck?
Thank you, Bill. There's one thing that Bill did not tell you. He's too modest. That he was the one completely responsible for scheduling the little rain that we had early today that we all needed for our gardens, and in particular for having it stop at 2 o'clock or whatever it was. So thanks, Bill. If anybody ever needs any help in the weather department, I highly recommend the man in the blue. So this is just a short biography of John Duncan Brown that was in the original flyer in 1966. And it was entitled Gift of John Duncan Brown, January 25th, 1875 to May 23rd, 1958. Mr. Brown was born in Lunenburg and received most of his education in its schools. In Depression days, he used his skills as a carpenter to repair and modernize many almost hopeless houses for which the banks were glad to loan him money, even for necessary paint. But the modest rents from these benefited the banks, the tenants, and him. After the age of 70, he built 3 bungalows with the help of one man. He was interested in Victorian furniture and collected antique glass. In later years, he became interested in the history of Lunenburg and in the Lunenburg Historical Society. He bequeathed the bulk of his estate for the building for a building for the society, which up to that time had been housed in the basement of the library. That's it, and I guess we're back to Bill.
Thank you. Thank you, Chuck. The next thing that happened 50 years ago was the so-called placing of the cornerstone, which is now largely hidden by shrubbery. Originally, Barry Whitcomb and Clarence May were the participants with Miss Helen Brown looking on. So today, Amy Whitcomb Ricciuti and Lance May, bearing the same names of the participants, are going to go over to the cornerstone. It's essentially a opportunity for a photograph. So if anyone wants photographs, Amy and Lance, please go over and stand by it.
Stand by the shrub.
We noticed in the photographs of the original ceremony, everyone was dressed in their Sunday best, with neckties, jackets, and dresses. Now, I'd invite Amy. Would you like a word? And Lance, you can follow.
Be glad to, Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have a lot of memories of my dad coming here. My kids thought this was his job. Granddad's going to work, he'd go with them. I remember him when they were working on getting it ready, being taken around to different buildings. He could take pictures, getting ideas of what it was going to look like, so he did a lot of the work on getting the building done. And I'm glad it's here, and I'm glad you guys are here, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bill, I think you said the magic words, and the clouds parted, and the heavens opened, and, well, it's not raining anyway. But anyway, I'd like to welcome everyone here today. You know, back on August 1st, 1966, I myself was not at this original dedication. However, when I was asked to attend the planning for this program, I can remember helping my dad move a lot of the items that were stored, I believe it was in the Ritter Library at the time, out and about to other people's homes in Lunenburg prior to having this building built. And I can remember taking books and other items out, and I have to think that those people that stepped up to the plate helped the preservation of these materials until this building was built, and there's a certain amount of gratitude that has to go to them. I also remember the station wagon that we used, because you can only take so many items at once. I believe it was a 1955 Chevrolet Nomad, and with all the salt and the roads they used in the winter, well, we were lucky to get the loads in that we did. But in any event, it was a real town effort, I believe, that took place to work with the members of the Historical Society at that time to bring forth this day and this type of building. And you know, it's funny when you look back in 1966, when this building was dedicated, you have to remember that the cost of a new house was $14,200. The average income was $6,900. The cost of a new car was $2,600. Anybody remember King's Department Store down on John Fitch Highway? And we also sent a couple of astronauts out into space, Neil Armstrong and David Scott, aboard the Gemini space capsule, and we all know what followed in 1969. And for the baseball fans here, the Red Sox finished 72-90. Billy Herman was the manager. They finished last in the American League. Tony Canigliaro ended up with a batting average of .265, Yaz at .278. So without having looked at further history on this, I do have something to read to further dedicate this, and it is my pleasure and honor to read the following citation. It's from the Governor's Office for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, dedicated to the Lunenburg Historical Society. On behalf of the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I extend warm wishes to you on this joyous occasion of your 50th anniversary and for being a vibrant part of the community. This 31st day of July in the year 2016, signed His Excellency the Governor, Charlie Baker, Her Excellency the Lieutenant Governor, Karen Polito. Thank you.
Thank you, Lance. That will have a place of honor within the building. The next thing that happened 50 years ago was a presentation of keys to the building by the builder, Ernest Pierce, to Sarah Ellen Brown, who was then the President Emeritus of the Society. They're represented today by Helen Brockelman as Miss Brown and Steve Schaff as Ernest Pierce.
Miss Brown, it has been my great pleasure to serve the Society as its contractor to build this new and permanent home of the Society. Be assured that the design and construction of this edifice will stand for many years against the ravaged New England winters and the scorching summer sun. It stands as a memorial to the generosity of John Duncan Brown. My work is done. It's my pleasure to give you the keys to the Society building. Thank you.
It is with pleasure and deep appreciation that I accept this key on behalf of the Lunenburg Historical Society. We are proud of this beautiful building which you have constructed for us. I personally feel that you have taken more than a business interest in this building, that you wanted to make it special, and you have done just that. Because of my brother's love for Lunenburg, he had a dream of giving something to the town as a family memorial. This dream has materialized, and I know he would be very happy could he know what you and our splendid building committee have accomplished. I speak for all the members of the society when I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. These are her exact words, by the way. I did not make that up.
Yes, and Helen read from Sarah Ellen Brown's handwritten notes. Very nice. 50 years ago, the history of the society was read by Barry Whitcomb. But we wanted you to get to know our relatively new curator, Jennifer Sanderson. So, with apologies to Amy, Jen, give us the history, as it was in 1966.
In 1897, a meeting of the citizens was held in the Lower Town Hall for the purpose of forming a historical society for the collection and preservation of historical facts, books, manuscripts, and relics to stimulate research and promote interest in local history. James Hildreth II was chosen chairman and Otis P. Abercrombie secretary. Dues were 50 cents per year, and membership was limited to residents or descendants of residents. Non-residents could join by the vote of the society. There were 29 charter members with the following officers: President James Hildreth II, Vice President James A. Litchfield, Secretary Otis P. Abercrombie, Treasurer George E. Jones. In 1910, the trustees of the Ritter Memorial Library offered a room in which to arrange and keep articles of historical value. The society was inactive from 1910 to 1937, and in February of 1937, it was reorganized and is active to this day. That same year, the Lunenburg Women's Club cleaned the objects in the collection and identified each by number with the aid of Harry Ellis. On June 16, 1958, John Duncan Brown bequeathed the main portion of his estate to the society for a building and memorial to family members. Mr. Brown was born in Lunenburg of Scottish immigrants and received most of his education in town schools. In April 1959, the society was incorporated as a nonprofit organization and approved as a Chapter 501c3 public charity, enabling donations for it to be tax exempt. In 1965, the town made available the site of the old center school on School Street for the new building. The building committee appointed by the society was Barry Whitcomb, chairman, Clarence May, co-chairman, Nellie Drum, secretary, Carl Proctor, Morton Johnson, and Roger Foster. A year later, on August 1st, 1966, the building was dedicated. I would like to personally thank everyone for coming out today. I might be the new curator, but I plan on staying here for a while. My roots go back to 1718 in this town, and I'm very fortunate to have grown up in this community. I'm a Blue Knight. I swore I'd really never come back, but I'm back and I love it. So thank you all.
We're nearly there. We're indebted to and appreciate the contributions of the Lunenburg Turkey Hills Lions Club for furnishing and installing the tent, to the fire department for the use of the illuminated sign on Mass Avenue, and for sending us one of Lunenburg's finest, Officer Sean Zarate of the police department. Hey. And of course, Jim Parker and members of Troop 1728 of the Boy Scouts. As we conclude the formal program, you're invited to visit the displays within the building, including the time capsule and its contents, which can be further explained by Bill Tyler. Enjoy the display of antique vehicles, thanks to Curator Emeritus Jim Larkin, the music of Jeffrey Mendoza, and of course a bit of barbecue by Firefly's Barbecue, served by our curator, Jennifer Sanderson. As you enter the building, please sign the guest register. At that table, you will find books, an 1870 map of Lunenburg on sale. If you're not a member of the society, free applications are also available. And you'll see several posters around. We are having a raffle. Details are inside. A beautiful lap quilt. Tickets are available from Eileen and Denise. And that's about it. We thank you very much. Now, one more thing. Make sure you buy raffle tickets for that quilt. It's just gorgeous. And we need the money, too. So thank you for being here and helping us to celebrate our building's 50th anniversary.
About today, it was awesome. 50 years already. And guess what? I'm older than the building. It was a terrific dedication.
Thank you for watching another outstanding program provided to you by Lunenburg Public Access. We're here to serve the community. Lunenburg Public Access is always looking for volunteers to help record town events, high school sports, and town meetings. Please consider helping us out today. To contact us, you can call 617-763-3018 or email us at lunenburgaccess@gmail.com. Thank you.